What we're doing today is we're going over the answers. This is answers for assignment number 5, which I said is kind of the hardest assignment, puts everything together. So this is going to be your answer key for assignment number 5. You should have your work. It's this sheet right here. I'll scroll through it there, and I'll also go down here on the document cam and show you the answers. If I'm going too fast on the answers, just pause the video and look at the sheet. I have the answers down here, so you can just see what I wrote, and we're good. So right here, what kind of cell? Well, guess what? There is not a wall. There's just a little membrane. So it's an animal cell. If you go to the next diagram, you can see there's like another structure on top. That's a wall, that's a membrane. That means we're talking about a plant cell on the second diagram. So let's go back to the first one. There we are. So look down here for the answers, folks. We have an animal cell, and you should be able to see everything. So we have the nucleolus, the eye of a nucleus. The whole thing is the nucleus. These individual pieces of genetic material in the nucleus are chromosomes. These little dots floating and sometimes attached to the Golgi, to the endoplasmic reticulum or floating freely are called ribosomes. This whole thing would be the nucleus, or if it was just pointing to the outside, it's a little hard to see. You could say it was the nuclear membrane. Either would be right. This slime or goop is the cytoplasm. A lysosome, that's a hard one. You could not really know what that is. And if you didn't understand the diagram, that's okay. But you know it's either going to be a lysosome or a vacuole. And on a test, normally I'm going to accept either of those. Lysosome and vacuole and chloroplast and mitochondria get mixed up very often. And I'm pretty lenient when I'm marking those because diagrams are only so good. And there's some things that you might just have a little bit of trouble with. That's okay. Don't worry. Next up, the outer layer would be the cell membrane. The ER would be right here. I actually don't like this on this diagram being called an ER as well. I like that being called a Golgi apparatus. And that's a vacuole, which you might mix up. And mitochondria is the pill with some squiggles. A lot of similar things coming up on the next sheet. I'll put that in there. There we go. We're talking about, let's see, scroll down. Trying to look here, I'm trying to look there, I'm trying to look at my computer, but we're talking about a plant cell. So let's go around clockwise and see what happens. The nucleolus, the eye, that looks familiar. The nuclear membrane, the whole thing is a nucleus. That is the ER, I would say that is the Golgi apparatus. That's the membrane, and outer of that is the cell wall. Cytoplasm is the everything else. Vacuole is the largest organelle in a plant. Chloroplast, a little hard to see. I like pancakes in there. Pancakes are good. Chromosomes are the genetic material. We're going to be focusing. The next few lessons, this is where we're talking. We're talking about how does this brain make new cells. So get used to these chromosomes and things like that. Next up, we've got the dots floating either freely or they could be attached to the rough ER, which would be called ribosomes. And we have, lastly, the mitochondria, the pill with squiggles, the powerhouse of the cell. Moving down, you can pause this section if you want because there's a lot of information. So here we go. Sorry. There we are. So the cell wall, it's the cell wall, supports and protects, found in a plant cell. Cell membrane, semi-permeable, irregularly shaped. It's the doorway, provides protection, found in both plant or animal. We'll flip it over to the next sheet. Here we are, moving down. There we go. What would be a region between the nucleus and the cell membrane? It's the cytoplasm. We have the home of many organelles. It's a liquid, right? Or a gel, found in both. The nucleus, found in both. And it's a round structure in the center of a cell. The nucleolus is in the middle of the nucleus. It makes ribosomes. That's very important. Found in both, control center. Next up, we have the chromosomes, which will be always about DNA or genetics. It's going to be chromosomes. This passes on genetic information. It's found in both. Next up, the ER, a canal system of many folds. I love that description, by the way. Very nice description. It's the transportation system. It's found in both. Like I said, I'm going fast. If you're checking your work and you need to fix it, just pause it, folks. The ribosome, small grain-like body made up of RNA, right? Place where proteins are made. Both. Pretty cool. Once again, don't forget this. Nucleolus makes ribosomes, and then later on, ribosomes make protein. Ribosomes are made by the nucleolus, and they make protein. A little bit weird. Get used to it. And we are on the back sheet now. We are talking mitochondria, powerhouse, provides energy, found in both. Vacuole is found in both. You could really make a note here if you wanted. You could say vacuole is found in both, but technically it is much bigger in a plant than it is in an animal, so you could make a special note there if you like, if you feel it. It's like a storage tank, round water-filled sac floating in cytoplasm. We've got the lysosome, the janitor, the custodian, the cleanup crew of the cell, small round structure containing digestive enzymes. Enzymes break things down. Animal, rare in plant, but it is technically in both. And chloroplast, only found in a plant, oval shape with folds inside. I call it the pancakes inside. It's normally green if you have a color diagram, hence why plants are green, because they have tons of chloroplast in them. Captures energy from sun and uses it to make food. That is called photosynthesis. And we will learn a little bit about how photosynthesis works, but in the next few years, you'll be learning on a chemical level how photosynthesis works. And it's actually fascinating how sunlight can be converted into sugar energy for a plant. Brilliant chemical reactions going on there. Really cool. And we have the last section of your assignment here. Do not do down there. We are talking, name the organelles that are found in the cytoplasm. And that is just a list of all of them, right? So you can say nucleus, mitochondria, ER, Golgi, lysosome, vacuole, chloroplasts, and ribosomes. Name 2 cell parts that are found in plant cells, but not in animals. That would be the wall and the chloroplast. And you could put a star here and say vacuole is special. But that's it, and that's all. I hope you did well, and if you have questions, this was the hardest sheet. If you got most of this, you're in good shape so far. Honestly, you're doing pretty well. So, if you have questions, reach out to me. You have one more assignment coming up, assignment 6, where you have to do some artsy, creative kind of things, comparing a cell to something else. That's coming up next. And then we're moving on to mitosis, meiosis, and asexual reproduction. 3 big topics. Then we'll have a little bit of a review and a test, and we'll move on to the next biology. You're about halfway through the core of the first bio unit. So this is what we would consider 2 weeks of schoolwork at this point coming up. So good job, good luck, we'll see you soon.